Hey Boomerangs, I'm here in my study, and on the last video, I told you that I was headed in for cardiac bypass surgery. Well, the surgery happened on December 9th, 2025. So I thought I should probably kind of tell you how that went, and obviously I'm still here. Um, in hindsight, the worst part about the whole thing was the anticipation, the worry. It's a major surgery. I had a retired RN, ICU RN, tell me that the only thing that could have made this surgery any more radical would have been if it was a heart transplant. So it's a pretty big deal, bypass surgery. But on the other hand, they do thousands and thousands every year. And I was also told by my family physician that cardiothoracic surgeons are some of the most well-trained surgeons on the planet. So I was in good hands, and that helped comfort me. My surgeon has 45 years of experience, has written 9 peer-reviewed articles on this subject, so I knew I was in good hands. Still, it's the fear of the unknown. Again, this is a big surgery, and going into it, it's only natural to be apprehensive, scared, frightened, and I was probably a little of all three. And I tried to let my brain overrule my gut. And my brain was telling me, you need this surgery. You have several blocked arteries and what's called the left anterior descending, also known as the widowmaker, which I guess is one of the most common ones to be blocked. It was at 90%. Now, if you don't know my family history, and you probably do not, because I don't think I've ever shared it, my little brother passed away of a heart attack at age 44. Both of my parents have had heart attacks. My grandfathers on both sides have had heart attacks. My grandfather on my mom's side had several heart attacks and strokes. And my mom had a stroke. So as you can see, cardiovascular disease really big in my family, so you can't outrun your genetics. And I was thinking that I was doing everything right, because as you know, I was into athletics, Highland Games for 14 years. I did a lot of heavy lifting, heavy throwing. I tried to eat right. In hindsight, I was not. I've since learned. And by the way, let me just take a minute and tell you guys, stay away from the processed foods, the fast foods, the foods that are cooked in your corn oil, your vegetable oil, your canola oil, all of your seed oils. They are highly, highly inflammatory. And your restaurants, fast food especially, they could care less about your health. They want to make it taste good so they can get your dollar. But in the long run, it's really not worth it. You need to eat whole foods. The other thing is, don't snack all the time, because every time you eat, your pancreas releases insulin, and you end up with what's called hyperinsulinemia, also highly inflammatory to your body. It's going to take more than a week, a month, a year for all this to add up, but over the years, it adds up. And I think in addition to my genetics, that was part of my problem. Give you an example. Every morning I would have oatmeal, a banana, and whole wheat toast. And I thought I was the healthiest guy on the planet. But do you know how many carbohydrates are in all of that? More than you should probably have in a week. And if you don't think that's not going to spike your blood sugar, you're mistaken. So anyway, that's just my experience. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a doctor, but that's my experience, and these are things that I've learned. Basically, you need to eat 2, maybe 3 meals a day, several hours in between, and no snacking and no junk food. I guess once in a while for your sweet tooth won't hurt you, but all the time, it's not good. So anyway, lecture over on that one. I just don't want to see anybody go through what I went through. Not that it was horrible. So I'll talk about that in a second. But let me put up a few pictures right after the surgery. And you can see I was out of it. I had a vent tube in. And from what I was told when I first woke up, I tried to pull the vent tube out. So they had to restrain me, tie my hands down. You take a look at these pictures. But you know what? Once I was in recovery and becoming more and more lucid, more aware of my surroundings, I have to be honest, and maybe my experience is not typical, I had zero pain. Now, I'm told for the first 2 days I was on morphine. I don't remember that. But even after that, I had zero pain. I will show you a couple pictures now of the incisions and the scars that I'll have now for the rest of my life. But I've learned to look at them in a different way. They're called survivor scars, because this is generally or genuinely a new lease on life. Because prior to this, with 4 arteries blocked between 70 and 90%, I was very close to being a statistic. Even though I felt fine, I was doing everything I needed to do. I could exert myself. I had no chest pain, no shortness of breath. And I had a electrophysiologist tell me that I'm the kind of a patient that scares them to death, because I'm fine one day and the next day they're planning my funeral. So this really is a new lease on life. So I was in the hospital for 8 days, 7 days in ICU, and 1 day in step down. Now, the reason I was in ICU for 7 days is that on day 2, I went into AFib and was in and out of AFib for a couple of days. And I understand that's fairly common with this kind of surgery, 30 to 40%. Also, they realized after a couple of days that my kidneys were not coming back. The kidneys take a big hit, this kind of surgery also. And I guess right now I am in stage 3A, chronic kidney disease, manageable, and I'm hoping to improve them. I did look on Google. Of course, everything you read on Google is true, but they said that resistance training and cardio training can significantly improve kidney function, especially the creatinine levels and the GCFR, whatever it is, granular something filtration rate, which is something else they measure. So I'm not terribly far off of those numbers. Anything for your creatinine, 1.3 and lower, is in the normal range. When I was in the hospital, it was at 2. When I was discharged, it was 1.5 or 1.6. And at my last blood labs, it was 1.39. So it's heading in the right direction. The granular something filtration rate should be over 60. Mine was at 57. So hopefully that can improve as well. Now, to be honest, my nephrologist did say that once a kidney's damaged, it doesn't regenerate. But then again, I've seen story after story, read story after story of people whose kidney function actually improved. I watched doctors like Dr. Ken Berry, then Dr. Jason Fung, who is a nephrologist. And you hear stories about kidney function improving, stage 3 to stage 2, and so forth and so on. So that's the hopes. So here I am, 8 weeks post-surgery. I've been back to work. I'm in my 2nd week now. Probably the only lingering effects are I get tired. I say easily. It's the strangest thing, because I could park, for example, my wife and I went to a restaurant, and by the time I walked from the parking lot into the front door, I was looking for a place to sit down. I was spent. I feel like I just was going to go down. But then again, probably the next day, I was walking laps at Walmart for some cardio, and I walked in, and I did 3 laps, and I would imagine it's about a quarter mile around this whole Walmart inside. It's a super center. And I was fine. So it comes and it goes. And I'm guessing over time, that'll get better as well. But as for the surgery, the recovery, it was uncomfortable, but it was not painful. I couldn't sleep in the bed in the hospital. It's just, I tried it for one night. I didn't get any sleep. So I slept in a recliner. Not the most comfortable, but certainly better than that hospital bed. And once I came home, I was 4 weeks in the recliner. You can't lay on your side, obviously, because of the sternum needs to heal. But you know what? I'm back in my regular bed, have been for a couple weeks, sleeping on my side just fine, left or right, doesn't matter. I still have a weight restriction, and I will for a few more weeks. But then after, I think it's 12 weeks, it's as tolerated. Because 6 to 8 weeks, your sternum should heal, but I was told it could take up to 15 weeks for the cartilage. So you have to be mindful of that. It takes a while to heal. But you know what? Just for an encouragement, honestly, day by day and week by week, you really start to feel better. And then when you realize that you have basically been given a new lease on life, I guess if you don't have to have the surgery, that's a good thing. But if you have to have it, don't be afraid of it. It's a good thing. And I know, fear of the unknown, and I get it. It's a big surgery. I went through it. I had a quadruple bypass. So I get it. And just so you know, they took a vein from my left arm, the radial artery. I can show you right here, if you can see it, the scar right here. And then there's another little one, I don't know, right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, right there. So I guess they snipped it there and pulled it out from down here. I don't know, I'm guessing, but they took a vein from there. Then they took a vein from my right leg. And then they took a mammary artery. So they'll have to do that. And I'm grateful that they did it the way they did it, instead of having to cut down my whole arm and my whole leg, because I've seen photos of that. But they didn't do that with me, so I am grateful. But I'm on the mend, and looking forward to this summer where we can do some more videos and get to the motorcycle events. And so I just wanted to give you an update, and I want to share this with other people who are facing this surgery, because I have read so many times, surgery tomorrow and I'm terrified. Surgery in 3 days, I'm scared to death. Don't be. You'll be asleep. And let me tell you, I remember being in pre-op and they shaved me, shaved my arms, my legs, my chest, and that hair is growing back. But I remember being wheeled into the operating room and looking up and seeing all the people and seeing the lights. And that was it. The next thing I remember, I opened my eyes in recovery and somebody said, "It's all over." I didn't remember, and you won't remember any of it. You'll be out. And then you're in recovery, and they can manage the pain, if there is any, and I didn't have any, unless it was being masked by the morphine. And if it was, again, I didn't have any pain. Now here I am 8 weeks out. Yeah, it's a little sore, but that's because I'm doing more and more. But you can do this. So don't be afraid of it. Be grateful that they have the ability to do this. All right, so there's the update, and I appreciate it. And if you've had to go through anything like this, post it in the comments what you think. What do you think about my experience? Is it kind of what you went through, or was your experience any different? If you're going through this, don't be afraid. Reach out. A lot of people have gone through this, and I guess the good thing is they're so good at doing this anymore. As big of a surgery as it is so routine for these people. So anyway, all the best to you, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.